The Sanskrit mantra at the end of the Heart Sutra, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi, Svaha, carries profound meaning. It can be translated as gone, gone, gone beyond, gone altogether beyond. What an awakening. Svaha. This mantra signifies the transcendence from the worldly delusions and suffering, moving beyond the conventional understanding of reality toward ultimate enlightenment or Bodhi. It encapsulates the journey of the Bodhisattva who has gone beyond the ordinary perception of self and phenomena, reaching the profound realization of emptiness, sunyata, and thus attaining liberation. The repetition and progression imply a gradual deepening of insight, culminating in a joyous affirmation of awakening. The concluding Svaha is a sacred utterance used as an invocation or blessing, sealing the transformative power of the mantra. Why is it that for hundreds and thousands of years, countless practitioners have recited it daily, yet few truly understand its meaning? Why did the Buddha choose to end the Heart Sutra with this Sanskrit verse? The wisdom contained within this may be far more profound than we imagine. At the break of dawn, in the lotus pond surrounded by forested hills and thorny bushes, the flowers began to bloom. The crystal-clear wooden beads shimmer with rainbow hues under the newborn sun, while the mountain mist weaves through the valleys, and distant peaks appear and disappear like a celestial realm. At the Lingshan Dharma assembly, the Buddha sat serenely on the purple-gold canopy seat. Behind him, the leaves of the seven-jeweled Bodhi tree rustled gently in the wind, as if chanting the unsurpassed and wondrous Dharma. The Buddha's countenance is serene, with a white Ushnisha at the crown emitting a gentle radiance. His gaze reflects wisdom that transcends the worldly realm and boundless compassion. In the void surrounding the Buddha body, a faint golden radiance shrouded the entire Dharma assembly hall, portending the extraordinary nature of today's ceremony. 500 arhats seated in the Dharma assembly, along with numerous bodhisattvas and the fourfold assembly gathered from all directions, held their breath in focused attention, eagerly awaiting the Buddha's teaching of the wondrous Dharma. All the people wore expressions filled with a deep yearning for the Dharma, hoping today to hear the wondrous and miraculous words of the Buddha. The Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara rose gracefully from the seat behind the curtain, walked lightly before the Buddha, and joined hands in reverence. The Blessed One taught that sentient beings are adrift in the ocean of suffering, unable to extricate themselves, like travelers lost in the darkness of night who yearn for light, yet cannot find the right path. They wish to practice the profound and subtle Dharma of Prajnaparamita, yet are often deluded by illusory appearances without a cause, like travelers trapped in dense fog, who find it difficult to comprehend the true essence of emptiness. The world-honored one, endowed with great compassion and mercy, is there a skillful means or method by which sentient beings can swiftly reach the other shore, thereby escaping suffering and attaining bliss? When Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva spoke, everyone present felt his profound compassion for all sentient beings. The Dharma assembly was enveloped in silence, with all holding their breath, awaiting the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha's eyes were gently closed, deeply immersed in profound meditation. After a moment, he slowly opened his eyes. Well said, the Buddha's voice was gentle yet powerful. Avalokiteshvara, what you ask today is precisely to liberate sentient beings from the sea of suffering and help them overcome all hardships. Your mind's concern for all sentient beings is indeed the true reality of the Bodhisattva path. Please listen carefully, for today I will expound this subtle and rare Dharma gate to you and all sentient beings of the degenerate age. As the Buddha's words fell silent, several auspicious clouds suddenly drifted across the sky. In the emptiness above the Dharma assembly, countless points of light twinkled like stars, descending boundless radiance. The crowd looked up in astonishment, realizing that this was a sign of the celestial Dharma attempting to mutually exclude one another. The Buddha began to teach. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while practicing the profound prajnaparamita, clearly perceive that all five aggregates are empty, thus transcending all suffering. As the Buddha taught, wondrous phenomena manifested. Each listener seemed to witness the scenes described in the sutra unfolding before their eyes. The serene and dignified figure of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva entering samadhi, radiating the unobstructed light of wisdom, and the joyous scene of sentient beings attaining liberation from the sea of suffering. The sound of the Buddha's voice is like the vast waves of the ocean, yet also like gentle rain nourishing, entering the hearts of all beings. The bodhisattvas who have cultivated for countless eons were filled with the Dharma presence in their hearts. Some were even moved to tears, deeply shaken by the power of prajna wisdom. However, when the Buddha proclaimed that in form there is no form, no feeling, perception, volition, or consciousness, several newly ordained monks in the corner of the assembly appeared perplexed. They exchanged puzzled glances, and a young monk even wrote down the sutra on his sleeve, hoping to consult his elders for clarification in the future. Venerable Sariputra, beneath the Bodhi tree, keenly observed this scene. As the foremost disciple endowed with wisdom, he is able to comprehend the confusion that beginners encounter when confronting the profound prajna teachings. A doubt arose in his mind. The prajna method taught by the Buddha is as vast and boundless as the great ocean. Beginners might find it difficult to grasp its essence. If there were more direct methods of practice, like a bright lamp guiding the way and directly pointing to the mind's true nature, wouldn't they be better able to benefit beings in the degenerate age? Shariputra had just formed this thought in his mind. One suddenly noticed the Buddha's gaze turned toward oneself, with a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Sariputra was startled in his heart. The Tathagata already knew his thoughts. He could not help but lower his head, feeling a surge of remorse. I have harbored doubts about the Buddha's teachings, which is indeed a grave offense. The Buddha's eyes were filled with compassion, as if silently conveying to Sariputra that your doubts are natural, and I have already made arrangements. Sariputra lifted his head to meet the Buddha's gaze and instantly understood in his heart that the Buddha inherently possessed skillful means to liberate all beings. At this moment, the Buddha continued expounding the essence of the Heart Sutra, his voice growing increasingly deep and powerful. At the conclusion of the sutra, he raised his hands to form a special mudra, and light streamed forth from his fingertips, enveloping the entire Dharma assembly, while his voice resonated like a heavy rain in a vast river. Gate, gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi, Svaha. The moment this Sanskrit mantra is uttered, wondrous transformations immediately manifest. The entire Mount Ling seemed to tremble, as countless luminous illusions appeared in the void, some blossoming like lotus flowers, some manifesting as the Buddha's incarnations, and others depicting sentient beings liberated from suffering and attaining bliss. Each person present experienced differently. Some great bodhisattvas suddenly realized deeper meanings of the Dharma, their faces radiating the joy of the Dharma. Some long-practicing arhats felt their hearts suddenly enlightened, as if seeing a new path of cultivation. Yet those novice monks who were previously confused became even more perplexed. Upon hearing the Sanskrit passage, it sounded like thunder piercing the ears, but its meaning remained unclear to them. Venerable Ananda, as the Buddha's emissary, had the deepest understanding of the needs of the lay people. He observed the varied reactions of the crowd. Some suddenly attained enlightenment, while others sank deeper into doubt. I thought, if such a precious mantra is not understood in its meaning, how can one obtain its true significance? He took a step forward, his kasaya fluttering, hands joined in reverence, and respectfully asked, O Shakyamuni, the final Prajnaparamita mantra, the Heart Sutra, is profoundly moving and supremely precious. Although we can recite the sounds, we do not understand their meaning. May the Blessed One, in his boundless compassion, explain to us and all beings of the Dharma decline age the true meaning of this mantra, so that we may faithfully practice according to the teachings and not fail the Blessed One's instructions. When Ananda spoke, his eyes shone with a longing for Dharma. He knew that his question was of utmost importance. This mantra must hold profound meaning, otherwise the Buddha would not have used it as the conclusion of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. The assembly was immersed in complete silence, with all eyes fixed on the Buddha, awaiting him to reveal the profound secret of the mantra. In the Buddha's eyes gleamed the light of wisdom transcending time, his gaze upon Ananda, both compassionate and solemn. Ananda, what you asked today is of utmost importance. This mantra is different from ordinary mantras. It is the secret elixir of enlightenment attained by the Buddhas of the three times and must not be transmitted lightly. Generally, people can only hear its sound and recite it without understanding its meaning. If the term Jedi is translated literally into Chinese, at the moment when the Buddha was about to reveal this crucial consciousness, a sudden and resonant sound spread throughout the entire Dharma assembly. The crowd was astonished to discover that multicolored flower petals were drifting down from the sky like rain, yet when the petals landed on people, their forms could not be seen. Countless celestial beings, dragon kings, yakshas, and rakshasa-like non-human beings were faintly visible in the void, all coming to listen to the Dharma. The heavenly music, like the harmonious sounds of zither and lutes, gently resounded and echoed. The entire Vulture Peak was bathed in sacred light, and everyone felt an unprecedented atmosphere of solemnity. The Buddha smiled as he looked around, saying, "The Dharma teaching I am about to expound is the ultimate secret key, already guarded by the devas, dragons, and the 8 classes of divine beings. It is evident that the efficacy of this mantra is extraordinary and unique, directly pointing to the pure realm of Buddhahood." All beings at the Dharma assembly were deeply astonished. Even the devas, nagas, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, and maharagas accorded great importance to this mantra, indicating that the profound meaning contained within it must be extraordinary. The venerable Kasyapa, who had always silently listened and was known for his reliance on ascetic practices and the support of strong precepts, could no longer contain the curiosity within his heart at this moment. His skin and hair were pure white, his countenance solemn, yet his eyes shone with an ardent zeal for seeking the Dharma. He stood up, his posture upright and firm like a green pine tree, and joined his palms together to pay homage to the Buddha. The Blessed One, as a disciple who has practiced for decades, I have never witnessed such a sublime and extraordinary vision. Since this mantra is so important and relates to the great matter of attaining Buddhahood, how should we understand and apply it in our daily practice? Could the Blessed One please translate the meaning of the Sanskrit into Chinese so that we may more easily grasp its profound essence and avoid straying from the correct path? When Kaya spoke, a resolute determination to seek the Dharma shone in his eyes, knowing this might be the Buddha's first public explanation of the true meaning of this mantra. The entire assembly was deathly silent. Everyone's hearts were stirred as they awaited the Buddha to unveil this ancient enigma. The Buddha seemed to perceive the thoughts of all beings, his gaze sweeping across each individual in the assembly, and finally encompassing the surroundings, his eyes filled with boundless compassion. In the age of Dharma decline, sentient beings possess varying capacities, with deluded thoughts incessantly arising, making liberation difficult to attain. If one does not understand the true meaning herein, even with diligent practice, it is feared that attaining Bodhi may take hundreds of thousands of kalpas, ultimately wandering outside the gate. The Buddha's voice became exceedingly solemn. Today, I make an exception to explicitly reveal the true meaning of this mantra, which is indeed to open a shortcut directly leading to Bodhi for sentient beings of the age of degeneration. May you cherish this rare opportunity and not fail to live up to the conditions of this present moment. Venerable Ananda felt his heart race. He vaguely sensed that he was about to hear a secret capable of changing the destiny of countless practitioners. The Buddha clasped his hands in the meditation mudra and solemnly declared, touching the ground is merely a phrase in Chinese. Saying go signifies letting go of attachments and moving toward liberation. Prajna, touching the ground, means reaching the other shore, transcending the sea of birth and death suffering, and arriving at the realm of awakening. Prajna, enhancing, touching the ground, signifies the collective crossing to the other shore by the public, expressing the Bodhisattva's great vow not to attain liberation alone, but to guide all sentient beings to enlightenment together. Bodhisattva signifies perfect enlightenment. Accomplishing all is a summary and blessing of the preceding cultivation journey. At the Dharma assembly, upon hearing this explanation, the assembly felt as if drinking sweet nectar, and their hearts were filled with joy. A profound and indescribable sense of emotion and awe arose in everyone's hearts, as if a long-standing burden had finally been lifted. Originally, what had always been regarded as mysterious and incomprehensible mantras are actually such straightforward and profound causes for practice. The Buddha continued, "Good man, this mantra is not a mystical charm, but the complete cause of the path of practice. From personal cultivation to benefiting others, from generating the aspiration to achieving accomplishment, all are encompassed within. Many people only know they should recite this mantra, but do not understand its meaning, much like blind men touching an elephant, unable to see the whole picture." Sariputra asked, "World-honored one, since this mantra is so straightforward and clear, why have the ancestral masters throughout the ages not translated it directly, but preserved its Sanskrit pronunciation?" The Buddha smiled and said, "Excellent question. There are 3 layers of causal conditions within this. Firstly, the recitation of Sanskrit sounds possesses the power to cultivate a pure and mindful heart. Both, retaining the original pronunciation, can connect with the heart seal of all Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times. If the 3 are insisted upon as one principle, there is a fear that sentient beings will become attached to the words themselves, consequently losing the merit of reciting the mantra. Venerable Ananda suddenly awakened to the truth, realizing it was indeed so. We often recite this mantra without understanding its true meaning. Is this not like climbing a tree to catch a fish? The Buddha shook his head and said, "No, even if one does not understand the meaning but sincerely recites with devotion, immense blessings can still be accumulated. If one can understand the meaning and recite the teachings, then both merit and wisdom are cultivated, swiftly attaining Bodhi. It is like a clear mirror reflecting objects. If the mirror is covered with dust, although it still has the ability to reflect, it will not be clear. Understanding the meaning of mantras is like polishing a clear mirror, enabling one to perceive the true nature of all phenomena." Venerable Gaia pondered for a moment and asked, "World-honored one, the meaning of this mantra is go, which seems too simple. How can it encompass such profound principles of practice?" The Buddha's gaze is like a dot, Gaia. It is precisely this seemingly simple guidance that constitutes the ultimate secret of practice. Most people are often attached to complex methods and profound theories, yet they become lost in the sea of words. The phrase choose, twists and turns, directly points to letting go of all false thoughts and attachments, transcending duality, and directly reaching the other shore of nirvana. This is the fundamental Dharma door through which the Buddhas of the 3 times attain enlightenment. How could it be compared to something complicated and profound? The Buddha rose from his lotus seat and walked towards Gaia. For example, if someone asks for directions to the great eastern city and you tell them to walk eastward continuously, would they not then understand the essence? If conveyed in a roundabout way, such as first cross the small stream, see the dead tree to the right and the stone bridge to the left, it would only confuse people. The practice of directly touching the ground, is just like this. It points straight to the path of awakening without any detours. Among the assembly was a newly ordained monk who, mustering courage, asked, "Blessed One, how should I embody the spirit of this mantra in my daily practice?" The Buddha looked kindly at the monk and said, "Well said, your question is timely. In daily practice, one should embody the spirit of this mantra through 3 steps. Firstly, be grounded and mindful of awakening, absolutely letting go, without continuing with false thoughts. Both, with prajna grounded, the mind abides constantly in emptiness, unaffected by external circumstances. The wisdom that enhances connection with the earth, benefits all sentient beings, universally liberates all, without seeking personal liberation. Engaging in practice in this manner naturally corresponds with the intention of the mantra. The Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, listening nearby, attained insight and asked, "World-honored one, if a person practices the meaning of this mantra, how is it the same as practicing prajna and paramitha?" The Buddha smiled and replied, "Avalokiteshvara and oneself are essentially no different. The principle of prajnaparamita lies in the unity of practice and understanding. This mantra embodies that unity, and only by integrating principle and practice can one perfect enlightenment. The Heart Sutra states that perceiving the 5 aggregates as empty is the wisdom of prajna. The mantra go is a specific practice method. Wisdom without being actualized through action is like drawing a cake to satisfy hunger. Action without the guidance of wisdom is like a blind person riding a blind horse. The two complement each other, and neither can be lacking." At this moment, the assembly began to deeply reflect on whether their usual practice had been overly attached to form and neglected the essence, and whether they had focused too much on theory while ignoring practice. If one can truly comprehend the spirit of relinquishing attachment and clinging, perhaps the path of practice will suddenly become clear and bright. A young bodhisattva disciple asked, "Shakyamuni, I often see many practitioners reciting sutras and chanting the Buddha's name, yet their behavior contradicts the Dharma. Is it because they know only the cause but do not understand the meaning?" The Buddha nodded and said, "That is indeed the case. If one practices focusing solely on actions without understanding the true essence, is like a judge punishing a criminal. Ultimately, one cannot attain success. The teachings of touching the ground, guide practitioners to let go of attachments. If one clings to the acts of practice without knowing how to let go, is this not putting the cart before the horse? True practice should be reflected in walking, standing, sitting, and lying down, embodying the spirit of the mantra, go away, never departing from moment to moment. One must let go of attachments everywhere, remain abiding in emptiness at all times, and act lifetimes for the benefit of all sentient beings. Such practice alone is true practice." The Buddha also expounded to the assembly, "You should know that in the age of the degenerate Dharma, beings are obstinate and difficult to transform. If one can recite this mantra and understand its meaning, one can use simplicity to govern complexity and directly approach Bodhi. This mantra, simple in its 4 lines, embodies the essence of the supreme and profound path of practice." Venerable Ananda asked again, "World-honored one, since this mantra is so supreme, how should we transmit it to future beings so that the true Dharma may endure long in the world?" The Buddha, eyes filled with compassion, replied, "Ananda, you ask very well. There are 3 essential points in the transmission of the Dharma. Firstly, one should explain the meaning according to the text, elucidating the true nature without departing from the words. The 2 should be practiced as one meaning, corresponding to form and appearance, with the realization of the correct fruit having a definite time. The 3 must be transmitted through a proper and orthodox lineage. Only a pure and orthodox lineage can truly convey the Dharma. If only the sound of the mantra is transmitted without its meaning, it is like the blind leading the blind. If one only understands the meaning of the mantra without reciting it with power, It is as if there is no mantra at all. Therefore, one should cultivate both the correct pronunciation and meaning, harmonizing the internal and external aspects, in order to ensure the enduring presence of the true Dharma. An elderly bhikkhu stood up trembling, tears streaming down his face. Shakyamuni Buddha, I have cultivated for many years and recited the Heart Sutra countless times, but only today have I truly understood the profound meaning of going step by step. The past practices are feared to be like scratching an itch through a shoe, not attaining the 7 awakenings. The Buddha approached the elderly monk, gently touched his shoulder, and said, "Well done. To recognize one's own inadequacy is a mark of greatness. Past efforts are not in vain. They have already planted the seeds of virtue. Since the meaning of the mantra is now understood, one should practice it together, dedicate the merit to the past, and use mindfulness to guide the future. Practicing in this way will undoubtedly yield twice the results with half the effort." The elderly bhikkhu listened, and his heart suddenly became clear, dispelling all the confusion accumulated over years of practice. He deeply realized that cultivation is not about pursuing the profound and inscrutable, but about letting go of attachments and seeking liberation by transcending the two truths. The Buddha returned to his seat behind the curtain and gave a teaching to the entire assembly. You should know that the phrase connecting with the earth is not merely a mantra, but a key principle in spiritual practice. Grasping attachment, grasping discrimination, grasping the self, and grasping the two truths. To realize Bodhi, there is no other path. Only by letting go of everything can one attain all accomplishments. Then, the Buddha entered Samadhi, and in an instant, the Dharma assembly was showered with blossoms. Celestial music resounded in harmony. Countless bodhisattvas manifested, all praising the Buddha for revealing the profound merit of the Heart Sutra mantra's true meaning. After the Dharma assembly concluded, Ananda carefully recorded the Buddha's teachings, preserving them for future generations. Precisely because of this rare direct explanation, future practitioners can comprehend the authentic, practical meaning grounded in reality, rather than remaining merely at the level of recitation. When you and I recite the Heart Sutra today, it is worth reflecting deeply on the phrase, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi, Svaha. This is not merely a combination of causes and conditions, but a compass for practice left to us by the Buddha. He teaches us that the essence of practice does not lie in elaborate rituals or profound theories, but in a heart capable of letting go, in the step-by-step progression toward the other shore, and the great vow to lead all sentient beings to liberation. If we only recite the sounds without understanding their meaning, how can we truly benefit? If we understand the meaning of the mantra, but do not practice according to the teachings, how can we truly attain Bodhi? This also explains why esteemed monks and great masters throughout history have emphasized that when reciting the Heart Sutra, one should not only memorize the text, but also deeply comprehend the meaning of Gate Gate. It is not some mystical mantra, but a direct path to enlightenment pointed out by the Buddha for us. Letting go, moving forward, sharing together, and attaining realization. In our daily lives, whenever we face setbacks, suffering, or confusion, we can silently recite these 4 lines of mantra to remind ourselves. Go, go. Go to the other shore. Together with all sentient beings, go to the other shore. Perfect enlightenment. Accomplish all. In the continuous act of letting go, perhaps we can find true inner peace and wisdom. Only by understanding this can we truly grasp the essence of the Heart Sutra, avoid detours on the path of practice, and directly proceed to Bodhi. As stated in the scripture, it is the great divine mantra, the great luminous mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, capable of removing all suffering, true and without falsehood. The essence of this mantra lies in those seemingly simple, yet profoundly profound 4 words. Mantra Ba, Mantra Ba. For centuries, countless practitioners have chanted the Heart Sutra daily, yet have failed to truly grasp the profound meaning of its 4-line mantra. Today, As we unveil this veil, we may gain a deeper understanding of spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is not about seeking outwardly, but about letting go inwardly. It is not about adding something, but about reducing something. It is not about complicating, but about simplifying. As the Buddha said, go, go. Seemingly simple words are the fundamental Dharma practice through which Buddhas of the 3 times attain enlightenment. In this bustling modern society, our hearts are often troubled by various desires, attachments, and delusions. How can one find inner peace? Perhaps the answer lies in these simple 4 words. Go, go, let go of attachment, let go of discrimination, let go of the self, let go of duality, and directly attain the awakened shore. May we, while reciting the Heart Sutra, also deeply remember the true meaning of its mantra, gradually embody the spirit of letting go in our daily lives, never forgetting to relinquish attachment, step by step advancing toward the shore of enlightenment, and ultimately attain supreme Bodhi together with all sentient beings. Bodhi is originally countless. The bright mirror is not a stand. Fundamentally, there is not a single thing. Where then can dust alight? All is emptiness. Only those simple 4 words guide us toward the path of liberation. Go forth, go forth. Isn't this precisely the ultimate profound meaning of the Heart Sutra?